Alright, so good afternoon, or morning, or evening, whenever you see this. This is Miss Turner, and today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing integers. So remember, integers are positive whole numbers, and their opposite would be negative numbers. So an example would be -3 is an integer, and +3 is also considered an integer. Okay, so we're going to be looking at models first. So we're going to be looking at multiplying integers on a number line first. So it says, what's our essential question? How do you multiply integers? Multiplying integers using a number line. You can use a number line to see what happens when you multiply a positive number by a negative number. Alright, so part A says, Henry made 3 withdrawals of $2 each from his savings account. What was the change in his balance? So first of all, the word withdrawal, it means to take something out. So this would represent a negative number. Okay, so find 3 times -2. When they're written close together like that, it's just another way of representing multiplication. You can see multiplication represented like this: 3 times -2 with a little x in the middle. Sometimes you'll see 3 and then a little dot in the middle, and then you'll see it as it's in the textbook where they're written close together. Okay, to graph -2, you should start at 0 and move blank units to the left. Well, since it's 3 times 2, that means it's 3 groups of 2. 3 groups of -2, because he took out $2 3 times. So I'm going to move 2 units to the left. 3 times 2 means -2, that was his first withdrawal, plus -2, that was the second withdrawal, plus -2, that was the third withdrawal. To graph 3 times -2, start at 0 and move 2 units to the left blank times. Well, how many times did he withdraw? 1, 2, 3. So you're going to move 2 units to the left 3 times. When I do that, 1, 2, 3, I end up at 6, -6. Okay, the change in Henry's balance was 6, or you could say -$6. Okay. The next one, Lisa plays a video game in which she loses points. She loses 3 points 2 times. What is her score? So find 2 times -3. So this one's a little bit different. 2 times -3 means -3 plus -3, because 2 times -3 is saying 2 groups of -3. And jump twice. So I'm going to start at 0 and make 1 group of 3. That's 1 jump. And then since I'm multiplying it by 2, because she lost 2 times, she lost 3 points 2 times, I'm going to do a jump another group. Ooh, goodness gracious. I'm going to jump another group of -3. Okay, so remember, multiplication is just repeated addition. So when I'm adding integers with the same sign, all I do is add and keep the sign. So Lisa has a score of -6. Okay, So a good reflection question I want you to think of, which you will be answering in the group discussion below. It says, what do you notice about the product of two integers with different signs? Look back at the examples and their results, and then you'll be able to answer this question in the discussion down below. Alright, so in this section we're going to be talking about dividing integers. So my essential question for this section is, how do you divide integers? Well, you're going to divide like normal, but you're going to use the same rules that we're applying to multiplication, and we're going to use them for division. Okay? Remember that division is the inverse of multiplication, and the word inverse means opposite. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Say I had 5 times 2, and that equals 10. Equals 10. The opposite, or the inverse, would be, well, 10 divided by 5 equals 2. 10 divided by 2 also or equals 5. I could also say 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Okay, so the rules for dividing integers are the same as for multiplying integers. Okay? And let's also remember some vocabulary words. Oops. Ascend means ascend is up, and down is descend. Okay? A up, D down. Okay, forgive me. I don't have my pen, so it's kind of hard to do touchscreen. Alright, so let's go through our explore activity. So it says a diver needs to descend to a depth of 100 feet. She wants to do it in 5 equal descents. How far should she travel in each direction? So use the number line at the right to find how far the diver should travel in each of the 5 descents. So she's starting here, but she wants to end up here. And she needs to get there in 5 equal groups. Well, before we go to A, let's look at B. B says to solve this problem, you can set up a division problem. I'm going to do negative 100 divided by 5. The reason that it is negative is because, remember, she's descending, and descend means down or a negative number. So that also means my quotient is going to be negative. Okay, descend down. Rewrite. C says, rewrite the division problem as a multiplication problem. Think, some number multiplied by 5 equals negative 100. So 5 times some number equals negative 100. Well, D says remember the rules for integer multiplication. If the product is negative, one of the factors must be negative. Since 5 is positive, the unknown factor must be, okay, so I'm going to say 100 divided by 5. So 5 can't go into 1, but it can go into 10. You can go into 10 2 times, because 5 times 2 is 10. So that leaves me with 0. Bring down my 0. Can't divide. So it goes in my quotient, which is 20. So I'm going to make 5 groups of 20. So that's one group, and I'm going to jump count, or skip count, and make my jumps on the number line. So that's one jump, and I'm skip counting by 20s. This is another jump. It's my second jump. This is another jump, and I'm skip counting, and now I'm at negative 60. This is my fourth jump to 80. And then my last fifth jump to negative 100. So I made 5 jumps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I skip counted using negative 20s. So my first descent was negative 20, then my second descent, they got down to negative 40. My third descent, they got down to negative 60. The fourth descent, they got down to negative 80. And the fifth descent, they were down to negative 100 feet. Okay, so you know that 5 times 20 equals 100. So using the rules for integers, integer multiplication, you can say that 5 times negative 20 equals negative 100, because we just said the answer, unknown factor, had to be negative because we're using the rules for integer multiplication. Integer multiplication and division use the same rules. The diver should descend 20 feet in each descent. Okay?